is being painted as truth, then comes the patriotic need to debunk such. This being a press statement from coalition of core civil rights activists on cheap blackmail and lies to pull down individuals. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, no amount of campaign of calumny will deter justice on Ajiran killings, setting the record straight. It's on record that the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, when the singer Ilerioluwa Oladimeji Aloba, popularly known as Mohbad, died on September 12, 2023, was Idowu Owohunwa. CP Adegoke Fayoade succeeded Idowu Owohunwa as the Lagos State Commissioner of Police in December 2023, after Owohunwa was promoted to the rank of Assistant Inspector General of Police. Commissioner of Police Adegoke Fayoade was succeeded in Lagos State by CP Ishola Olawale on September 17, 2024, after Fayoade was promoted to Assistant Inspector General of Police. CP Jimoh succeeded CP Olawale Ishola as the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State on February 18, 2025. He was later succeeded by CP Fatai Tijani in March 2026. The chronological presentation of the various commissioners of police that have served in Lagos State from 2023 to date is essential to disabuse the minds of unsuspecting public that the sponsors of murder cases, land grabbing, and other related criminal enterprises that the long arm of the law caught up with them are presently being prosecuted. Hence, they have resorted to cheap blackmailing of senior police officer and the former Commissioner of Police, Lagos State Command, now AIG, Jimoh, whose excellent and professional performance in Lagos earned him a rise in his career and posting to a high-profile zonal command, Zone 2. It is therefore an evil unspeakable to mislead the public that AIG Jimoh investigated the murder of Mohbad. The Nigerian Police Force, as a regimented security institution, has established protocols of conducting investigation, prevention, and prosecution of crime. It is therefore a figment of hallucination for a non-state actor and illiterate who have access to mislead the public through their presence on social media, a menace and social vice that criminal elements of the society now engage to undermine the integrity and competence of constituted authorities in the discharge and administration of its constitutional power and duty for the benefits of the people and the country. While we are aware of the grave consequences of the Olodo uprising in our society, we cannot rule out the excesses of illiterates that the government has provided access to quality education for through NEL Fund and others, but they have chosen to remain uneducated and crude in their assessment of sensitive social and security matters. We are not deterred in pursuing justice in Ajiran killings, as no amount of campaign of calumny will halt the wheel of justice that is grinding slowly and steadily on the matter. Finally, we, as the eyes and mouthpiece of the people, with high sense of patriotism, cannot stand idle to watch lies and blackmail targeted at individuals high and low in the society to go unchecked. Hence, the need for this World Press Conference to tell the world that no matter the level of blackmail, we shall stand by the truth, as our chronological analysis leading to the assumption of office of Mr. Jimoh as the CP Lagos Command points to the fact that those saying he was Compo Lagos Command then are blinded with hatred, pull him down syndrome, and witch hunting. It is consequently evident that corruption is fighting back, and as consequence of the nation and conscience of the nation, we will not fold our hands and watch criminals spread their tentacles unchecked. I want us to really understand what's at stake. You are all aware of the fact that a few days ago, a publication was released where we have the picture of the current AIG Zone 2, and they declare him wanted. And they wrote there that he is aware of what happened to Mohbad. From what we have explained here, you could see when he became the CP of Lagos State. And that's to tell you the level criminals can go to thwart the hand of justice. Thank you.
In addition to Olufemi Lawson, a member of the Coalition National Secretary of the Campaign for Democracy, and in addition to what our convener just said, I think it is important to also break it down further that the whole essence of this press conference is to raise very serious concern, because unconsciously the legal system in our country and the law enforcement system in our country is practically, virtually, gradually rather, being taken away from the law enforcement institutions, particularly the police and the court, into the hand of comic characters, jesters, and content creators. Today, matters that are before the court, matters that are before the police, are now being reduced to matters that content creators, comedians, and jesters can sit before ring lights and begin to mobilize Nigerians on. This, I'm very particular on calling out the Inspector General of Police to be mindful of these characters, including those who are calling the Inspector General of Police my guy, in the course of this their comedy and content creation, that Nigerians are what? If we allow these elements who are being sponsored, because we know they are sponsors anyway, and the whole scenario we have seen in the last couple of weeks is connected to one issue. It is connected to the killing of Sheriff and Akiloye, in Ajiran community of Lagos State. The alleged murderers of these young men is desperate, is fully funding this process that has now created a lot of content creators and pseudo activists who are now out to blackmail the law enforcement institution and the court. Because if you take documents that are presented as evidence before the court, I think to show it to Nigerians on ring lights before cameras, you have an agenda. Secondly, is the fact that now matters that are supposed to be matters of law enforcement are now being taken to these comedians and jesters called content creators. Also is the fact that there is a deliberate attempt at bringing down one of the very key persons who investigated the Ajiran matter, the then CP Moshood, Olawale, who is now the AIG Zone 2, and they are deliberate. Why are they deliberate? Because they know that the suspect, who is currently in custody, who has been pretending to be healed, having kidneys ailment and all sort of things, hiding in one, a private apartment called hospital, knows that the matter has been thoroughly investigated. And the only thing they have to do is to get this. And if we demystify our law enforcement institutions to the extent that law and order will not be left in the hand of comedians and content creators, then we are working towards a state that promotes anarchy. Yes. And we as activists, we as the genuine civil society leaders will not sit back and allow these very desperate paid characters to push our country into a state of anarchy. And that's why I am particularly calling on the Inspector General of Police to be mindful of the antics of these guys. We know those who are paying them, we know who are mobilizing them for this content creation, and we know those who are hell-bent on ensuring that the image. And beyond that, we're also demanding that the police as an institution should commence an immediate investigation and prosecution of everyone involved in declaring the whole Inspector General of Police wanted in a false claim in the name of social media freedom immediately.
Thank you. Your name
Olufemi Lawson.
Like Ishola Oladusu, my friends call me Buska. You see, it is quite unfortunate that despite what we went through to arrive at the democratic experience we are experiencing now under the military, that some people who are supposed to have been major beneficiaries of even the struggles of the past are now those who are making mockery of the effort towards both legal, constitutional, and security development. And so it goes to tell you about how desperate some people can be. It is given that everybody deserves the right to live, the right to self-expression. But what do you say when somebody or some group of people takes out the Nigerian police mast, the crest, the Nigerian police logo, in the name of Inspector General of Police to declare wanted an assistant Inspector General of Police in Nigeria? And you know, we were just laughing and we were just, by now I felt some arrests would have been made. No, imagine taking the letter-headed paper of ordinary ministry to write a letter of suspension on a staff, which does not, what do we call that, please? That is forgery. And in the case of police, because of what the institution represents, that is felony. You understand me? And so please, we are counting on the relationship between us and the media, on their cooperation in highlighting this thing, taking this thing away from the unique elements that call themselves content creators, social media, whatever, and whatever. You may have 300 followers, but like the Yoruba will say, yes, because this institution is being rubbished, and nobody's even looking at it that way. That how come that you will declare a serving assistant inspector general of police wanted using police logo, police crest, and signed by the inspector general of police, and he's still roaming the streets free? I don't think that is proper. 1, 2, the attempt to muddle up the issue of Ajiran. Yes, we need the media, we need everybody's hand on the deck. That the Ajiran issue must not be allowed to go just like that. So, going further, you and I owe the Nigerian people and the institution of governance the right to continue to pursue what we desire, which is justice must be served and served quickly. And we are demanding that the IGP and every other security institution should take, we've seen forgery in daylight, broad daylight. If you can't hold them, why are you holding the other man in the name of FCIP, or what you call the fake ministry, the fake departmental agency? I'm sure you guys can see the post. You saw it, where they declare an AIG wanted, written by, in fact, they wrote, what do you call it?
Commissioner of Police.
Yes. And all the official codes of transmitting messages from police formation. Everything was stated there. Go and check it. So what should happen? They should be walking street? No, I don't think it's proper.
I got it. Your name.
Razak
Oladimeji.
His friend, yes. You may not want to listen. I'm challenging you. The least interaction or relationship I will have any person with anybody, including Mr. Paul, Olawale himself, and a lot of persons in this room, would have been from 10-15 years as a civil society person. But let me tell you where I should diffuse your mind about certain things. I like the fact that you raised that question for the purpose of clarity. You see, the media is one of the problems. I'm a media person, and the media is my constituency. If myself, Comrade Declan, Comrade Nelson, even have conversation with you on phone, even without seeing us, you know where we are coming from. You know, when you talk about campaign for democracy, when you talk about the OPC, when you talk about, if in your studio you want to have discussion about OPC, you know who to call. You want to have discussion about women, you know Dr. Joe. You want to have discussion about, you know Fumi, you know Biola Keode. You want to have discussion about liquids, you know Femi Falana. But when tomorrow morning, some persons just rent a hall in Ikeja, come from nowhere, many of them you don't even know by name, and say they are civil society, and report them as civil society, then you now begin to say they are factions. Let me tell you one thing, the civil society movement tonight, it is not that we are not monopolistic about it. Human rights, civil society, they are just voluntary engagement. Anybody can wake up and call himself anything. But when you talk about the Nigerian civil society, the pro-democracy movement, there is nobody on this table here where we are sitting that have not gone into detention 10-15 times. Those people you are calling civil society, tell me one of them, one or two, that you have had has been prosecuted by the Nigerian state for being pro-democracy or civil society. So when we are saying, and somebody saying, we don't care, you can believe, you can see them as, but for us, We are not professional society. All of us here have jobs. I run one of the finest consulting firms. I've worked for a governor. So we are not like people who just call from their bedroom to come and address press conference because you don't call them civil society. So we must be able to distinguish between people who are the voices, who are pro-democracy elements, and people who are just rented to come and sit in one hall and begin to write. They write for them now. You have interviewed me. You have interviewed. How many of them have you brought to your station as activists? I'm on almost every TV in Lagos every week. Buska is on radio every day. How many of those people have you brought to come and discuss? So when you now begin to compare us as we are not factionalized, when you talk about issues of human rights, myself and Nelson, when it comes to political ideology, we are one of the staunchest opponents. But when you talk about human rights, you always find us in the same room, sleeping together. Myself and him, who is a political godfather, we will fight on it. But when it comes to justice that is what is called, not only people who are just gathered to come and sit and address press conference. So we are not factionalized. On the issue of Ajiran, somebody cannot be alleged in a murder case and the person is sleeping in the comfort of a hotel room. And you are saying because the AIG must be removed. We will pursue this, not just to the extent that the court will give judgment, but to the extent that justice will be served and the victim's family will get justice.
In addition,
there is victory for us. In the struggle for Nigeria, there is victory for us. Forward, forward, ever, backward, never. In the struggle for Nigeria, there is victory. Africa,